Hello my beautiful friends and welcome back to our channel. My name is Beck. I am a professional mindset coach, a medical doctor, and the founder of the group coaching program, Dare Darling. Dare Darling is for you if you are a driven, successful woman. If hard work is something that you've got in the bag, you could do on repeat, and you do on repeat day after day after day. But you know the next step in your life is really to level up with a new strategy. And that strategy is self-governance, making decisions for yourself truly by making sure all the options are on the table for you and you're picking from a full selection, not just the minimal selection we give to ourselves when we have these rigid ideas and rules and sense of obligation and sense of expectations from the world and expectations about what we need to do to be good enough or be successful. In Dare Darling, I train you to be able to use the tools of coaching to live your life in a new way, to get new results for yourself, to live your life in a different way, to get different results for yourself, the ones that actually matter to you. Now today's video is really close to my heart. It's something that I feel like I really grew into in the past year, that previous to that was more of an intellectual idea, something that I could nod my head and agree with, but I hadn't had that full experience of the difference that it makes in my life. And that is, what's better than happy? So if you're far enough along in your personal insight journey and self-development journey to be watching these videos and to be able to follow along with these coaching concepts that I talk about, then you're probably already familiar with the concept, the flawed concept, that we are meant to be happy all the time. And that if our life was just good, if our life was right, or if we were good enough, that the result of that and the way that we would know that we're doing it right and we're on track is that we would be happy all the time. Now for me, I've had awareness and even an intellectual agreement with this concept for probably about a decade now. I've been lucky enough to have been influenced over a decade ago to stop me intellectually, consciously trying to focus on or aim for being happy all the time. But as I was saying, it's really taken until last year to start embodying that concept and really understanding that being happy all the time is not only not my goal, but it's also something that is detrimental to me and causes me a lot of the problems, the very problems that I'm trying to escape and fix myself. So if you're somebody who's ready to really take on and execute, implement on this concept in your life, if you intellectually agree with, yes, it can't be that we were meant to be happy all the time. I can't keep using this goal, this measuring stick of being happy all the time as a way to measure whether my life is on track or good enough or if I'm doing the right thing. And if you feel like you actually want to actively stop shifting towards this, whether it is something that you do consciously or subconsciously because of the consequences it creates for you, then this video is for you. Because I want to talk to you about what the alternative is, what life actually looks like in my experience to choose something other than the goal of being happy all the time, and stop making those false implications, these errors of implication, as I call them, about what it means if you're not happy all the time. So my experience last year of living into something other than that lie that we're meant to be happy all the time was a fantastic contrast. So on one hand, I actually had a goal, totally separate from this concept, but I had a goal to celebrate more, to be the person in my life who celebrated my progress that was important to me, and progress that maybe wasn't as shiny or fantastic or amazing and not noticeable to other people in my life, but important to me. I made a commitment to myself to actively take time, set aside time and attention and energy to celebrate on purpose. And what that looked like for me was actively parking that part of my mind, that critical side of my mind, even after maybe I reached an amazing height or a new achievement or my performance was really good, there's still that critical part of me that bubbles up, that wants to speak and wants to point out all the things that went wrong. And so what being able to actively celebrate meant for me was needing to park that part of my mind to the side sometimes I had a bargain with myself, sometimes I would bargain and say, just for the next half an hour, sit and wait. I'll get back to you later, but for now we're celebrating. So I actually had a lot of very high celebrations, lots of wonderful ecstatic energy. I had a lot of ecstasy in terms of emotions in my life last year because of that, and that was so wonderful. And in contrast to that, what I also had in my life last year was a great deal of very intense sadness. The reason I had this sadness in my life is because another one of the things that I've been learning to do with my own coaching, receiving coaching myself and with my own self-coaching, is to allow more uncomfortable, unpleasant emotions, negative emotions, as we would typically call them, in my body, in my experience, as opposed to what I would do as a default, what a lot of us do as a default, which is to dismiss and resist those uncomfortable emotions. Instead, on purpose, I would allow them to be in my body, and I would even invite them. You know how you feel something bubbling up that's uncomfortable, and there's that temptation, that urge to escape? Well, as I got self-awareness in the moments that I did of that emotion bubbling up, not only would I start to surrender and allow that emotion to be in my body, but I was so motivated to experience more of a spectrum of emotions and benefit from doing that. There was a part of me that would be happy, that would be inviting that negative emotion experience because of all of what I made that mean. It was a part of my goals, it was a part of my growth. I know that this is a stepping stone to me to be able to be more of myself in the world and have as big of an impact as I can. So I was actually inviting those emotions, bubbling them up and bringing them up, making them as big as they wanted to be. And I've been doing this emotional work with myself for many years now. And at first, it was intolerable. I really had to bargain hard with myself. I remember the first time I decided to allow an emotion to be in my body, I literally set a 60-second timer. I lie down on my bed, and so I couldn't do anything else, just put my hands by my side, and I told myself, just the 60 seconds, that's it. That's all you have to do. And then you can do whatever you want afterwards. You can react in the same normal way that you do, whatever. But for this 60 seconds, this is what we're gonna do. So that's where I started. And that was, after already doing a lot of work to be motivated to actually allow my negative emotions. So my progress with this work has been, now my experience of sadness is actually quite ironically pleasant. What I found when I stop resisting the sadness, when I invite and allow that sadness to be in my body without any resistance, I just let the emotion be what it is. Yes, sometimes it is quite painful, but there's also a paradoxically pleasant aspect to the sadness. It feels soothing in some ways to just let all that energy move through me, to let the emotion do with my body what it wants to do. It feels like I'm honoring myself as opposed to rejecting that part of me, disrespecting or disregarding that part of me that's sad. So there's this sense of honoring myself. And then there's this accumulating self-trust, this safety that I feel with myself when I let myself feel that emotion as opposed to self-rejecting. This is an intellectual idea that I have, that I'm starting to learn that I can handle all of these emotions, even if they are uncomfortable, and that I trust myself to not only hear those parts of myself, respect those parts of myself, but also that I can handle the emotional experience in itself. So as those experience this way that my relationship is changing with my sadness, the way that I treat myself with my sadness makes the experience of sadness way less unpleasant than it was before. I wasn't just experiencing sadness in the past, I was experiencing sadness plus these layers of resistance on top. And now I'm experiencing sadness plus this nurturing, respectful relationship with myself as I have the sadness. And then with that different relationship, I experience the sensations of sadness, just the pure sensations of my body of sadness as different as well. And yes, I'd be lying if I said that they weren't still uncomfortable or challenging or activating, but they are, stay with me here, quite a wonderful human experience. Letting my body experience all of those sensations, that emotional state, that unique emotional state almost feels like I'm exercising my fullest humanity. I'm having a full human experience. So what I want you guys to consider in terms of what could be better than happy is that being able to experience the full emotional spectrum of your human experience, of your human body and mind. I think that's better than happy. I think that is being alive, that breadth of experience and appreciating all of these different situations and sensations and the exploration and discovery that comes with having these different experiences in my body. I really feel like I am living. And more than that, I feel like I am becoming more open and more resilient to life in general. I feel like I'm more willing to take on more experiences out in the world when I am more willing to experience that full emotional spectrum. If I'm no longer somebody that's always targeting towards happy, and I'm willing to feel all of these emotions on the spectrum from unpleasant to neutral to pleasant to ecstasy, I am now more willing to put myself in new and different situations, in a greater breadth of situations. What is better than limiting yourself and always aiming for happy is this sense of freedom and this sense of openness and the excitement that comes with being somebody who has self-trust, who has confidence in themselves, to be able to go out in the world and do whatever they want, to be somebody who can put all of the choices of life on the table and not be limited because they're trying to avoid certain experiences or meet certain markers. So my beautiful friends, I just want to put this forwards to you to start to fill a few gaps and add a bridge hopefully from wherever you are now to wherever you want to be, and let you know what else is available if you're somebody who is starting to understand that aiming for happy all the time isn't working for you, and what else is available, what it actually looks like to prioritize or aim for something different. All right, my beautiful friends, if you know this is the kind of work that you need in your life, then you're somebody who needs to be in our group coaching program, Dear Darling. The link is down below, and I'll see you guys in my next one.